Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. Super excited to have our guest today, Elliot Rosenburg, here with us. So, he's not a therapist, but he's got a really cool story. Usually, Elliot, we have therapists that are guests that are traveling the world as nomads, and we talk about that.
Right.
But occasionally, I
I'm a
like to
frequent
have,
patient of therapists, so
okay, well, we
that
like
counts for
that.
anything. Yeah.
We like that. So, occasionally I'll just bring other guests on that have really cool stories and information to share, and yours is one of them. So, I'm really excited to have you here today. Could you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and what qualifies you to be on this traveling therapist podcast as a nomad?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Kim. This
Welcome.
is really exciting. So I'm Elliot. I'm the founder of Hack My Honeymoon.
I love that.
And though we have honeymoon in the name, we help non-honeymooning couples as well.
That was going to be my
Uh,
first question.
yeah, we help people to get luxury flights and hotels for pennies on the dollar using credit card points in a way
Oh my
that
gosh.
is financially responsible, builds their credit score with time, and saves them lots of hassle and confusion and headache.
Oh my gosh, I've got so many questions. Now, first, could you tell us a little bit about your bio? Because when I read it, I was like, this is so cool. You've been in like so many countries and, lived in different places. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Like your last, what, 11 years or something, I think it said? You've been
Yeah,
all over.
definitely. I've probably spent about 13 years of my life living outside of the US. I'm from LA originally,
Hmm.
but I have lived in a few different countries, have traveled extensively to about 40 different countries, and that has largely been funded with credit card points
Amazing.
and airline miles that I have earned not because I'm a rich big spender, but because I learned about 10 years ago how to hack the system.
Oh my gosh. I want to hear all
And
about this.
and I going back to like the genesis of that was that I was actually living in Brazil running a very different travel business
Hmm.
at the time, about 10 years ago. And I got very jealous of my customers who were
Yeah.
oftentimes traveling around Latin America, the world. And I was in one place. It was an incredible place, Rio de Janeiro, if you've ever
Wow.
visited.
No.
But I wanted to have the experience of waking up every day and something being new and exciting.
Mm.
And while I had definitely traveled at that point, I had never really experienced that
Yeah.
concept of just constantly moving and experiencing novelty everywhere I went. And I I was probably, similar to a lot of like mid-20s American Western people wanting to travel a lot, but not being able to afford it.
Hmm.
And I stumbled across this world, this concept of travel hacking, which can mean lots of different things to different
Hmm.
people. But the area that I got attracted to was the idea of using points earned from your everyday expenses um, from spending on credit cards and
Nice.
then maximizing them for the most travel to the most places and the coolest experiences. And for whatever reason, that really resonated deeply with my
Oh,
soul.
yeah. I
And
love
I
it.
just dove really deep into it. And I ended up leaving Brazil and taking a backpack to 17 countries over 15 months
Wow.
in Asia, which is a part of the world I had never visited before. I wanted to really maximize the novelty aspect of it for myself, and that was largely funded by the points that I earned from credit cards, and I was really able to build these or to have these incredible lifelong memories uh, traveling by myself, but also having some friends come and travel with me along the way. And that ultimately led me to India, where I am right now. I'm in a
Wow.
place called Goa, India, which is like coastal beach state that has a lot of really great nature and culture. And uh, after I got to India about 9 years ago, I kept traveling, even though I was working in a completely unrelated space. And along the way, my friends saw my travels, family knew what I was doing, and I was able to start helping others to take advantage of the same things that I was doing and help people to plan trips, to plan honeymoons. And ultimately, I ended up meeting my now wife in India about
Wow.
4-ish years ago. And we were able to travel even before we got married for about 3 months around the world. And then I proposed, we got married, and we had a honeymoon. And I was able to take us to the Maldives for
Oh
our
my
honeymoon
gosh.
and stay in one of those Instagrammable overwater villas where you
Oh my
were
gosh.
in like
Dream
a
trip.
luxury bungalow surrounded by the ocean. You can just jump or climb down from your deck into crystal clear waters and snorkel around with the fish and rays and reefs.
Oh my gosh. That is, I don't know. I don't know if everybody's got that on their bucket list, but I definitely do. Every time I see one of
Yeah,
those, I'm like, I'm going there one day.
yeah,
Yeah. So I want
it's
to
a
talk
dream.
about like how you got there. I dabble in the credit card thing, like,
Uh-huh.
free flights. And
Yeah.
one day, one of my credit cards upgraded me to like first class just
Uh-huh.
randomly. And ever
Yeah.
since then, I've obviously been hooked on like business class and first class. It's like, how
Yeah.
do you ever go back and fly like economy when
Definitely.
you could hack this and fly like
Yeah.
way more comfortable?
Yeah.
Um, so that's my current obsession is like, how can I get enough points to be able to fly all over the
Right.
world, in
Right.
first class?
Yeah, and the great thing is it's actually a lot easier than most people think, and it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a big hassle or stress, and you don't need to be rich to do it. You could be a middle class person in the US as long as you're financially responsible
Hmm.
and you don't get a credit card and spend more on it just because it's a shiny piece of plastic and it's funny money. It
Yeah.
doesn't really come out of your pocket. That's not true. So as long as you're not in that category, then it's really accessible to the average middle class person.
Amazing. So could you walk us through, I mean, we don't want all your secrets, but maybe you could walk us
Sure.
through like a simple way somebody could get started with this if they're not,
Yeah.
using credit card points to like the
Yeah.
maximum capacity. Like maybe give us some
Hmm.
tips and tricks and maybe your favorite
Yeah.
card that you
Sure.
recommend.
Sure. Definitely. I'd say that first, at a high level, like we need to just uh, get some of the disclaimers out of the way. One, you need
Okay.
to be financially responsible. You need to be someone who does not spend beyond their means,
Hmm.
and uh, you need to probably start off with a 700 plus credit score.
Yeah.
So you don't need perfect credit, but you need decent credit. And really critically are two things. One, you need to always pay off your credit card in full and on time every month. Otherwise,
Yes.
all of the interest and fees that will be charged to you are not going to make all the points and rewards that you get worth it. And you'll get trapped in debt. And that's absolutely something we don't want to do. And
Yeah.
then the second thing is that you need to be confident that you're not going to spend any more money than you normally would on a credit card just because you're getting tricked into earning points from it and the math
Yes.
ultimately isn't working out. So let's get that out of the way. And then assuming that's the case, really the first thing is to start with like what are your travel goals?
Mm.
Are you trying to f- fly domestically? Are you looking to go in international business first class flights? Do you want to stay in like cute, cheap homestays? Do you want to stay in five-star luxury resorts on private islands? That all is something that requires a little self-reflection. And
Mm.
then another aspect is just, are you someone who is willing to be flexible and patient with your travel plans, because unfortunately this generally doesn't work for people who are really rigid in saying I need to go to uh, ABC itinerary on XYZ dates, and if I can't do that, then I don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's kind of like a different mindset that works better here, especially when it comes to using your points for flights, and that's sort of chasing the deals, or letting the deals pick you, as opposed to
Love that.
saying that I need to go to this destination on this date,
I
especially
love
if you
that.
want to fly in first or business class, long haul international flights.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting with that sort of self reflection and honesty with yourself, which I think therapists should be pretty good with. I would
You
hope
would
so.
hope.
Yeah.
You'd be
um,
surprised. No, I'm just kidding.
then the next step is putting in place like a points earning strategy. And really the easiest way for most people to earn a lot of points quickly is to sign up for new cards that have
Hmm.
big welcome bonus offers on them.
Yeah.
And a single welcome bonus offer could give you more points than you would earn in an entire year of just spending on an existing card that you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I always wonder about that because, I obviously my credit score's fine and I can open a credit card anytime I want to. But then,
Mhm.
I get hooked in that mindset like, okay, now I've met this bonus. I've got this bonus. Now do I switch to another card to get that
Mhm.
bonus, or do I keep
Yeah,
building on this card as a loyalty type,
right.
member? Like I always kind of struggle with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is that decision is going to be very specific to each person.
Mm, mm,
I can tell you that over the past 10 years, I have opened 92 credit cards.
gotcha.
But
Yeah.
I don't advocate for most people to do that. That's extreme. My credit
Mhm.
score is 800 plus, so that's not an issue, and that's something that a lot of people have a misconception about. The reality is that generally, when you open a new card, the your credit score will drop 5 to 15 points, which is very small, immediately, and then within 3 to 6 months, you'll see that go away. And as long as
Mhm.
you are paying your bill on time in full every month, then you'll see your credit score actually rise after
Yeah.
about 6 months.
Mhm.
So you shouldn't worry about opening new cards. It's actually going to really help you in the mid to long run. And if you're an organized person who's not going to lose your cards and forget that there's an annual membership fee that's due after a year, and you have to decide what to do then yes, the more cards you can open, the more points you'll earn for the average person.
That makes sense.
But a lot of people just don't want to think about that, so they'd rather just maybe have two or three cards that they can open and hold for the long term.
Yeah. That's great advice. Yeah, because then it's like I don't know when the decision point comes either. It's like if you've got a card that has a high, annual fee or something. Because like I had an American Airlines card, it was like
Right?
200,000 points or something. If I put 10,000 on it in the first 6 months or something, I don't remember exactly. But then it
Right?
had an annual fee of like $680. But it had a lot of good perks like the airport
Right?
lounges and
Hmm.
lots of other things. So it almost weighed out in the end, like the
Right?
$680 a year.
Yeah.
But then when it came around to the annual, I was like, gosh, okay, do I just pay this and like stay loyal to this card, or like the Venture X card, had a
Uh huh.
great deal. So it's like maybe I sign up for the Venture X card now.
Uh
And
huh.
I guess my question around that is like, and I've heard different things, but can you like downgrade these cards that you
Yeah.
have these annual fees on? Is that like the
Yeah.
hack with that? Like how do you manage
Yeah.
that part? Yeah.
So when it comes to the annual fees, first of all, not all cards have annual fees, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessary to pay annual fees if you want to earn points. That's a kind of a sticking point for some people, but a lot of the best cards for signing, just to sign up and get a big bonus and to keep because of all the benefits that they offer, do have annual fees of starting at around $100, and like you said, it could go up to $500, $700 a year. So when the annual fee comes due, you have basically three options,
Okay.
and I think people oftentimes face that dilemma that you're talking about, but they don't realize that they actually have these options. The first is that you can ask your bank to either A, waive the annual fee for another
Oh.
year,
Oh, really?
or give you a customer retention offer.
Oh.
And different
Okay.
banks in different scenarios, depending on how valuable of a customer you are to them, will often do that. So it's sort of
Amazing.
this adage of don't ask, don't get. So
Yeah.
most people don't realize that, and the retention offers that they give you, and in some cases, could be like a second bonus, especially on
Oh.
really premium cards like an Amex Platinum card. They will often give 30, 40, 50,000 points just for paying and holding the card for another year.
Amazing. So you call it a retention bonus when you call them and
Yeah.
ask? Is that the language? Okay.
The way that you would do it is sometimes you can do it over chat. Sometimes you can do it. Usually, you have to do it over a call, but you do not call and you do not speak to like an automated system and say, "I want to cancel," because then
Yeah.
sometimes they might automatically just cancel your card, and then sorry, you don't
Yeah.
get your retention bonus. You say, "I am. I'm unsure whether I want to continue to pay the annual fee on this card because I'm not sure I can justify it. I wanted to see, are there any retention offers on this card?" And then the representative will like give you a long spiel about these are all the benefits and why it's great. And you can say, yeah, yeah, I know all the benefits, but I still don't think that it's worthwhile for me to keep paying this big annual fee. Do you have any offers? And then they might give you an offer and you listen and you're like, I don't think that that's great. But regardless, it's always good to ask, do you have any other offers? And sometimes they'll give you an even better offer after that. So that's generally option one.
I love that.
If you see that there are continued perks to having the card. Option two is you can oftentimes downgrade a card to one with a
Okay.
lesser or no annual fee,
Okay.
depending on which bank and which card you're starting with. And the benefit of that is that it maintains your credit history for that account, especially if you're
Mm.
someone who's new to credit or you don't have many cards. That can be important in terms of maintaining and growing your credit score. For
Nice.
someone who already has a lot of cards and for just mental free space or strategic reasons, you want to get rid of a card, it's really not a big deal to cancel. It doesn't really
Nice.
have much of an impact, and it's not something to really fret about. I cancel cards all the time for different reasons, but it's totally reasonable to just say I don't want to have this mental overhead hanging on top of me. But if you can at least um, bring yourself to downgrade the card instead of canceling it, for the average person, that's generally going to be better.
Yeah, because I've heard, I mean, I don't know if it's true. I've just heard like if you cancel a card, it could, cause you credit score issues. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's true. And like for example, I did cancel like an Amazon card. Like I had an Amazon, I don't remember what it was, but get points for Amazon. And then I canceled it because I was like, okay, I don't want to pay the fee. I want to go to this other card. And then I applied like, 6 months later or something for another different Amazon type card. And they were like, no, you can't because you canceled your Amazon card. So like they like literally wouldn't let me back into like the Amazon card network. I haven't tried it again. I don't know if there's like a wait period, but you know, so that happened. So I don't know. I don't know like the strategy around like canceling. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Is it like last resort? You know.
So if you are going to cancel, I would say do not cancel within 12 months of opening the card
Mm,
because banks don't like that.
okay.
You should ideally wait for at least 12 months. And if there's an annual fee, wait for that annual fee to post,
Hmm.
uh, and then usually within 30 days, if you end up downgrading the card or canceling the card, then the bank will refund that fee. So you don't have to worry about it. But it shows that you're not like it makes you look like a better customer to the
Yeah.
bank. And then a lot of banks, a lot of cards do have various like application rules, and that's probably what happened to you. Is that with that Chase Amazon card, there would be a limit on how soon after you got a bonus on that card before they'll approve you for a new card. So it could be 24 months, 48 months. Each card, each bank has different rules.
Gotcha. Okay. Good advice. Yeah, I'm really bad with the details. Like in my mind, in a perfect world, I'd have a spreadsheet with this credit card gives me this many points for this type of transaction. I would keep something like that, but I'm not that organized. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
doesn't
good
need to be
advice.
that complicated. Like I'm not gonna, I don't push like most of our clients to open lots of cards and overwhelm themselves. Like especially if you're a couple or you're doing it like as a family, then each person opening 2 or 3 cards over the course of 12 months can and you're traveling together
Hmm.
can get you a really awesome trip worth easily $10,000-$20,000 of luxury travel.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with all that being said, I'm hearing you say like it's really individualized for what your personal goals are. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have like a favorite card that if somebody's just like starting out that you would
Yeah.
usually recommend, or is it really
Mm-hmm.
specific to their goals?
So, let's speak to your audience. Is your audience largely nomadic, or is that the dream, the goal that a lot of them
Yeah,
have?
I think it's a mixture of both. It's people
Okay.
that are already doing it and then other people that are like really wanting to do it. So I think
Okay.
it,
Got it.
yeah. Hmm.
So, so in that case, I'd say, and if you're looking to just get one card and
Yeah.
and hold that card, I like you mentioned it before, the Capital One Venture X card.
Yeah. Hmm.
Or so that the great thing about that card is it gives you 2 points per dollar on every purchase,
Yes.
and those
Yes.
points are going to be minimum worth 2% toward of like cash back toward travel.
Hmm.
But what most people don't realize is that you can transfer you can transfer those points to various airline and hotel partners and get many more times value out of them. So it's nice
Amazing.
because it's like bare minimum going to give you 2% toward all travel pretty much.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it works just like a statement credit. So you can just charge a flight and then wipe it off your statement, where 1 point is going to be worth 1 cent.
Yeah.
So uh, it's good from an simplified earning perspective for people who like to travel, and then it has no foreign transaction fees for
Hmm.
people who want to be abroad and not have to constantly pay a markup for every expense that they have. And then on top of that, it has great great perks. So it gives you lounge access
Yes. I
and
love it for
something
that.
called Priority Pass, which is a network of 1,600 lounges around the world that can be a big cost savings and comfort and convenience when you're traveling pretty much anywhere to hop into a lounge, get a free meal, drink, a potentially quieter nook away from the chaos of an airport, especially if you've got a connection or you just want to get to your airport early and avoid like chaos and last minute rush. So it can really pay for itself that way. They're two different cards with similar names that are worth considering. One is the Venture Rewards card, which has a $95 annual fee, but
Huh.
it gives you 10,000 points, which is worth $100 toward travel every year that you pay that fee. So it's basically
Wow.
like Capital One is paying you $5 a year just to keep the card.
Wow.
Um, and then there's the Venture X, which has a $395 annual fee, but it gives you a $300 travel credit toward like flights, hotels, car rentals every year. So you can say it's like really like a net $95 annual fee, but that one is the one that comes with all the lounge access perks. And both of them have the same sign up bonus of 75,000 points. So it's a solid sign up bonus, which will be worth minimum 70 or $750. And then if you're smart about how you transfer your points, it could easily be worth two, three, $5,000 in luxury travel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that card. And the
Yeah,
priority
yeah,
pass. I love an airport lounge. So
yeah,
it's
yeah. It's
like
really
super
nice.
important to me. I love that card. Okay, so that's great advice. Yeah, they have a friends referral thing, and I sent out. I did like a reel, like an Instagram reel, and I was like in a
Uh huh.
lounge sipping a drink or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, here's my referral code for this,"
Uh huh.
and I had like 100 people hit that referral code. But
Seriously. Wow, that's
yeah, and
incredible.
and I found out later that they only let you have $100,000 a year or 100,000 points a year. So
Yeah.
it was like
Wow.
it's 25,000 per sign up, and I'm like, okay, so all these other people, I don't know, I didn't get rewards for it, but it was like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
pretty
the
cool.
bank got rewarded. They're
Yeah.
happy with that. But yeah, there's a cap on how many referral points you can
Yeah.
earn
I was like, that's a
per year.
bummer.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you for all those tips. I'm wondering if you could tell us, like, what was your hack process for that honeymoon that you went on?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to hear
So
that.
so first of all, being that I'm based in India, the
Hmm.
Maldives is very close, so I didn't really have to worry
Oh,
much about the flights.
yeah.
It's not like there'd be any kind of like lie flat business class between India and the Maldives, anyways, because it's like a 2 hour flight.
Hmm.
So that took a lot of work out of it. So it was more just about the destination for us, and then like getting from the capital to the destination. So we stayed at Le Méridien Maldives, which is a
Nice.
Marriott property. Almost all of the resorts in the Maldives are unique in that they are private island resorts. So
Nice.
there'll be a little speck in the ocean, and that will be occupied and owned or leased by a single resort. So if you want to feel like you're just in the middle of nothing, surrounded by blue,
Mm,
and you can walk around the island that you're staying on in 5 or 10 minutes, then the Maldives is the best place for you.
amazing.
Um,
Mm,
and so we stayed there, and the hack was pretty simple. I opened one single credit card, which at the time it was the card still exists. It's even better now. Oftentimes, it's a Amex Marriott card, and the sign up bonus at the time was like 100,000 points, and it was a newish opened resort, and the points rate per night was like 30-ish thousand points per night,
wow.
Marriott points per night, which is like frankly like less than a lot of like Courtyards by Marriott or basic Marriotts in the U.S.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Wow.
Marriott gives you your fifth night free when you use
Oh,
points. And so we stayed for 6 nights, and pretty much almost all the 6 nights were just covered by one sign up bonus. And the cash rate for those rooms were like $700 to $1,000 a night, and that was pretty much just covered by one credit card. And then the only
wow.
other like big expenses, well, so when you go to the Maldives, generally you need to take some kind of like domestic transfer from the capital where you fly into to where you're staying, and that's either going to be a seaplane or a local flight to an actual landing strip little airport, or
Hmm.
a speedboat ride. So
Wow.
in our case, we took a seaplane,
Oh, nice.
and the seaplanes, even if you're booking with points, the seaplanes can still be quite expensive.
Wow.
So that's something to keep in mind. And the other thing that can be quite expensive is the food and activities, because these are luxury resorts where you are held captive
Mm-hmm.
and they can gouge you, but also it's pretty justified in the sense that these are specks in the middle of the ocean, so it's very expensive for them to get food and materials
Yeah.
delivered to them. So all of that additional expense was covered by another card that was basically just like a cashback card. So we could say
Nice.
that pretty much our entire honeymoon costing, let's say $7,000 all in,
Yeah.
was covered by about two credit cards, sign-up
That's
bonuses.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay, Marriott rewards card. Yeah, I kind of got hooked into like a Hilton rewards card, but
yeah.
I'm not that thrilled with it. So I've been wondering about a Marriott rewards. Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be really dependent on each person. I'm not loyal to any program. I dabble in all of them. Whoever will give me the most points and the most perks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can get great deals with Hilton, great deals with Marriott, Hyatt, etc. So I like to chase them all.
I love it. I keep telling myself I'm going to get way more into it and get really good at it. Um, Thank you so much for these tips. It's been amazing. Could you tell us about Hack My Honeymoon and
Yeah.
like what all you offer in case somebody
Uh-huh.
wanted to work with you to plan a
Yeah.
trip or to learn more even about the credit card hacking stuff?
Yeah. I think you were just getting at sort of like the root uh, challenge or pain point that we're trying to address, which is just sort of like the overwhelm that comes to
Yeah.
us. It seems like you've been uh, doing it for a long time, but you're still overwhelmed by it. And there's so many
Yeah.
different loyalty programs. It can be so confusing how the credit cards work. And frankly, they're designed in a way that's meant to be confusing because
Hmm.
if they
Mm.
were very simple, then the banks would lose money.
Yeah.
And it can just be frustrating and overwhelming and cause most people to just say, I don't want to bother with this, or I'll just have one credit card. My cashback card gives me 1%, 2% everywhere, and I don't think about it at all.
Hmm.
So we want to address the the pain, the challenge. And I had that same challenge when I was starting out. It was like so overwhelming,
Yeah.
and I made so many mistakes along the way with opening cards and managing cards and using the points that I beat myself up a lot. But
Mm.
with lots of trial and error over the past 10 years, I've been able to learn what works and what doesn't work. So what we do is we basically hold your hand and more or less take all the guesswork out of it for you and essentially do it all for you. You don't really have to
Oh,
know what you're doing. We'll tell you exactly. It's sort of like cheating on an exam.
I love
We'll
that.
give you the cheat sheet or just take the test for you,
Yeah.
and that starts with just helping you to understand what your travel goals are, helping you to figure out what kinds of destinations or experiences are a right fit for you, whether you're a couple going on a honeymoon or you're a therapist based in the US who wants to spend more time abroad. And based on all of that, as well as your financial situation, how much you can spend,
Hmm.
what your credit currently is, what cards you already have opened, we will then put into place a points earning strategy, which is
Nice.
usually going to be signing up for a few cards over the course of a few months to earn the
Hmm.
most points toward the travel goal that you have. And then once you've earned the points, we will do all of the research to put together the ideal itinerary for you. And unlike using cash,
Wow.
when you have to use points and get good value from those points, uh, it's not as simple as saying, I want to go here on this date and I just pay cash to do it. There's especially with flights and business class flights, there's not a whole lot of availability, and it can be quite opaque as to how you find what's going to be a good fit for you. So we'll put
Mm.
together the whole itinerary, and then we'll book it for you.
Oh,
And
nice.
then once those annual fees come due on your card, we will help you to avoid the annual fees in a way that protects your credit.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Yeah. Nice. Okay. You're going to be hearing from me later.
Awesome. Yeah. So
That's so cool.
uh,
So how do they
we're there
reach
with our
you?
clients along the way. Yeah. So best would be on our website,
Okay.
hackmyhoneymoon.com, and otherwise, I'm on social media and pretty much every platform. Pretty much posting a video every day explaining some kind of travel hack, and my handle is at Rosenberg, like my last name,
Okay.
Rosenberg.
E.H. Rosenberg. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
awesome. Great. I'm going to go follow you right after this.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know this is going to be so helpful for the listeners to figure out this hacking thing because it saves so much money. I mean,
Yeah.
I just booked I mean, it was ridiculous, but I had 50,000 points left on an American card. And I
Yeah.
had to fly, I'm going to have to fly down to Fort Lauderdale and then back, but I'm going to have to do layovers. And basically for 50,000, I just booked them all first class and I got the lounges and
Right.
everything. And I was like, why not? I don't know. I have 50,000 left on my, and it was
Nice. You're
exactly
hooked now.
50,000. So,
Yeah.
it's great. But anyway, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you coming. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out. And of course, all the information will be down in the show notes if you guys want to work with Elliot to do this travel hacking. I love that concept that you'll do it for them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank you
Kim.
so much. All right. Now I got to hit stop, right? Okay, let's
Hmm.
see.